Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the Invincible Iron Man issue 595. And this was a pretty good issue. Now, granted, it focused more on Tony in this, and getting a little bit, well, not a little bit, actually a good amount of information on him, as well as focusing on some Doom aspects that I found kind of surprising, and tying that all in with some kind of we're still continuing the subplot with Riri, but Doom and Tony kind of took more of the focus in this issue. So, an interesting thing that began this issue was Doctor Doom kind of giving a lowdown of what was going on. And I'm like, okay, here's a recap page, but he was doing it to Amara, who was going out with Tony, but of course broke up with him after he did the whole faking his death thing to go after the cyber ninjas. So he's just giving her the information and everything. She pulled a gun on him, telling him to pretty much keep away. And while Doom's trying to talk to her, he sees that she has prenatal care pills. So this kind of just really shocks him, and then he kind of vanishes and teleports out. And of course, Mara is kind of freaked out herself. So that is a pretty big thing, because Tony went out with her, but we don't know if they got to that point yet before things got crazy. And Doom has been... It's really weird because he's been talking with her and having a kind of relationship with her, but we don't know if it has gone that way either. So it'll be interesting to see who the father is and what those repercussions will be. So then we get to AI Tony and Riri kind of talking about what had happened with the battle. Riri having to deal with her boot malfunction and everything. And we get more inside of the mind of AI Tony, really going in and being pissed off that weasels are trying to take his company. Specifically Eric Lynch. He does not like that guy. And granted, Tony usually hates when people do that and try and take over his company and everything. But not to this kind of degree before. It's very interesting to see how this AI is kind of dealing. He is pissed off. Even more so than usual Tony would be, because Tony's used to this at this point. But I think that AI Tony's really taken it upon himself to be the Tony Stark at this moment. And anything trying to get in the way of that kind of validity needs to be handled with extremely precisely. So I really like seeing them kind of dig into that kind of aspect and see what's going to be happening with that. So, of course, they're just kind of talking about everything, and what happens is they get back to Chicago. Riri's boot kind of goes down, and she just kind of skids to a stop, and everyone's like, oh, look, it's Ironheart, it's Riri Williams and everything. And she's like, crap, I hate it seeing everybody with the phones and all that. And, of course, this kid comes out to help her, Xavier, and Tony goes, well, I can deduce from your diary and everything, which I don't read all the time, mind you, that this is Xavier. Of course, someone Riri likes. And he offers to help her, but she's like, oh no, the armor does most of the stuff. Why don't you kind of come on in? And he's like, okay, we'll have to see how this goes. And it goes kind of crappy, because as she goes in, we see that her mother is trying to fend off the Stark employees, who they've gotten other people to repossess what they deem is Stark tech, which, of course, Riri more took things that nobody was really using and reverse engineered the armor. And just seeing that whole situation was kind of crazy, because she had at first invited them in, but then seeing that them trying to take stuff was like, yeah, no, now you're kind of trespassing and all that. We find out that it is Millennia Vostokov that is the one doing it, but of course she's going, well, I was told in this situation that I'm here to repossess things that are belonging to this company, and of course this person's using Iron Man armor, so you need a kind of bigger kind of gun to go for that. Of course, Riri goes, well, I've been recording everything, and a really weird thing, I don't know who the Chibi Iron Men belong to. I'm gonna go it's more with Riri, because there's the cameras up there. I know that was the camera, because she's saying, listen, you try and do this, I'm going to blast the whole headline that corporate takeover weasels are trying to take armor and tech from pretty much a 15-year-old kid. And it's just funny that there's these little chibi Iron Man just like recording everything, and I'm going, okay, that kind of works. And of course, Millennium was like, I was not completely raised in the situation, so yeah. How about I just, and then of course they're pretty much finishing it for it, saying, yeah, go, because we will handle this the way we always the way we were supposed to handle it, kicking your ass and getting you out of here. So that's kind of where we're left off, at least at the moment, with what's going on. And I just think it was a really good way to keep showing how this corporate takeover is affecting Stark Tech, Amanda, and then focusing really on Riri when they get into her, essentially in her sanctum and start trying to take her shit. And how that's another aspect that she's got to learn as a superhero that, yeah, it's kind of, it's convenient for her at the moment to have it in her house with her mom, but she's going to have a more secure facility where this stuff will still most likely happen, except with people trying to sneak in more than just asking your mom to come in. So then we get to a very kind of cool scene, and I was first thrown off with it because we see that we find out that the person in the armor is Tony Stark. And we see that his mom is the one that finds him calling in for MJ, and we hear that he was trying to sleep it off. And we're getting some explanations of what's going on. He's saying that he was trying to mess with his body chemistry, that piloting the Iron Man suit is not really conducive to a regular human body. He was messing with his chemistry in order to make it less rigorous and to adapt accordingly to the rigors of being Iron Man. So we're like, okay, so that's what he's trying to do. What does that exactly entail? So, of course, they keep going, and he's saying that the thought of his mom was the only thing that kind of kept him alive. And they're kind of talking about, it's like, you think that's kind of an accident that I kind of found out that you're alive? He's going, I really question if there are accidents. And she's going, well, what about the accident that landed you in this position? He goes, okay, I kind of understand that. And she's like commenting on his appearance, saying like, it's really weird that your beard is gone. And then we get a little bit more information on kind of what Tony did. He said that means my system must have rebooted, and says that what saved him could only save him once. And he says, so much for being immortal. So whatever he had attempted to do to his body, he had tried to achieve immortality through it. And that we have learned that by using this process, it can only happen once. So that's a big kind of thing. I mean, Tony's always the futurist and looking to avert negative outcomes. So we'll have to see how he takes this setback and what he's going to do with it, because this is his only body from what we are, granted, his only physical body at the moment, but he might be trying to figure out other ways in the future to avert kind of a permanent death. But of course we've seen that he's kind of achieved that with AI Tony, so we'll have to see what other avenues he explores. So then, of course, that's when MJ comes in saying, look, we got him, calling everybody in, and that's when we get, like, all the Avengers and everything coming in, saying, oh, it's really good. We see, of course, Captain America and Captain Marvel are the ones first talking, which they were kind of big players and everything that was going on with, like, the Civil War II and all that. And then, of course, we see Luke Cage talking about their fearless leader that was helping them, and we see Rhodey. And we're like, what? And then, of course, we find out that this was still kind of a fever dream as Tony's yelling out for Rhodey and then falls unconscious again. Now, that scene's got an interesting point in that we first see that Tony is still curled up in the armor, as he was saying that he was trying to sleep it off, and he still had his helmet on. But in this scene, he doesn't have his helmet on. So I don't know if he took it off while he was dreaming this or whatnot, or what's going on, but at this point, he then just passes back out and is still trying to recover from what's going on with what he did to his body. So we got a little bit more information, and it just opens up interesting possibilities of what's going to be happening. So, of course, one of the last bits we get with Doom, we see him in the south of France, just in this house, and of course, we get the Hood monologuing that, trying to pretty much prove that Doom's not a god, not even a doctor, saying I could have popped your head when you came in here and all that. But I wanted to see your look on your face kind of thing and have witnesses and all that. And of course he tries to start killing Doom. But Doom puts up a force field And then we get a shot of the outside and this kind of flash in the room. So we don't know exactly what's happened. And this could be that Doom either got away unscathed or that Doom was able to take them out but is injured. So I'm kind of looking forward to what's going to be happening with that. Then we get towards the end of the comic and we see that Amanda and everybody's trying to figure out any updates on the search for Tony Stark. And, of course, nothing's really coming up. She's talking to Friday, trying to figure out if she knows anything, and she's going, listen, the only way I would know where Tony is if I was in his head. And then, of course, that's when the light goes off in Friday's head and goes, okay. And then we get back to the scene where Riri's talking about the cameras and everything. Then we see AI Tony's eyes change, and we see him also represent himself in front of Amanda on Friday and MJ. And, of course, they're going, yeah, we've got that, sure, the digitized brain of Tony Stark. And you would know what Tony would know. Do you know where he's at? And, of course, he says, to be fair, no one directly asked me before. Now, that is both a very Tony Stark answer and a very kind of AI answer. If you are not directly asking for input, you're not going to get it. You know what I mean? Communication is the key. It's like, okay, so he knows where Tony's at, and he probably knows more about what Tony did to himself and what's going on with Tony at the moment than we do. So it's like, all right, here we go. Here's some stuff moving. It'll be a kind of cool little thing to see how he reacts to what's going on with Tony and how he'll react to Tony being back and awake and what will be that kind of thing. Because I would really kind of like to see a comic where Riri's still got Tony AI as her central AI, and then be like having to see essentially two Starks kind of have to compete with each other. And it'll just be kind of funny if they do that. But this opens up some kind of possibilities of that AI Tony. He's definitely been making moves behind everybody's backs. He's been doing his own kind of thing. It's just going to be intriguing to see how far his plans have been and what he's been doing. So, overall, I thought this was a really good issue that did a good job of presenting more information on Doom's front and on Tony's front, while still weaving in some good stuff with Riri Williams. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.